Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, Dr. Hanita. Hello, my friends. I'm Alicia, and in this video, I would like to present you a project report of the language and communication theories. This project is actually linked to our previous event, Compassion and Wellness webinar. So in this video, I would like to link our webinar with the conversation analysis. So here's the definition of conversation analysis by some researchers. Conversation analysis is actually the appropriate theory or approach to analyze the conversation interaction. It was developed by the sociologist Harvey Sachs in the early 1970s. The purpose of conversation analysis is to discover how participants understand and respond to one another in their turns at talk during the interaction. The context of communication here is the webinar or spoken conversation. So in this video, I'll try to identify basic key concepts of conversation analysis that exist in this webinar. First of all is turn taking. The basic understanding of turn taking is like how people know when it's their turn to speak and start listen to the others. So in the webinar, we can see how the moderator conducted turn taking in the process of getting information from the guests or the speakers. There are three main rules that occur in the turn taking. So these rules are proposed by Sachs. The first rule is telling how the first speaker chooses the next speaker to talk, and then the speaker who has been selected has the right to talk. The next rule of turn taking is when the current speaker does not select next speaker to talk, so it's free for the other speaker who wants to take turn to speak. And the last rule is when the current speaker does not select and none of the others want to speak, then the current speaker may or may not continue his turn. As we can see in the webinar, the technique of turn-taking that often appears is when the moderator selects next speaker to talk. For example, when Mr. Owl did an introduction or the opening speech, here we can see how he chose the next speaker by transferring the signal over you, Mr. Addy. So it means he allowed the selected speaker to take in turn, and then Mr. Addy that has been selected here has the right to take next turn to speak. And also I noticed that during this turn talk there was a little moment of overlap when these speakers speak at the same time during the conversation. So Mr. Addy interrupted Miss Farah while she was talking. So this is not considered a rude interruption, but it's more like the example of cooperative overlap. In cooperative overlap, you can see how Mr. Addy interrupted and said, I think if I can add on to what Farah just said, and then the moderator allowed him saying, sure. So this is what we call cooperative overlap. Mr. Addy interrupted to add points to support on what Ms. Farah was just saying at that time. So this overlap helped move the conversation forward and aid in communicating the full meaning to all who are listening in the webinar. Another type of turn-taking that I can find in the webinar is a Jensen Pair. A Jensen Pair convey politeness and willingness from one speaker to acknowledge the feelings of the second speaker. For example, in English, we know the greeting, how are you? So, and then it is commonly followed by I'm doing well, I'm doing great. So it creates an adjacency pair. So it demonstrates a polite interest from one speaker to the other speaker. So, and then the other speaker acknowledged the polite interest from the first speaker. If someone failed to reply politely to the greeting, how are you? It's considered bad manners. So showing how the adjacency pair is necessary to build rapport between the speakers. Adjacency pair typically have three characteristics. They consist of two utterances The utterances are adjacent, that is, the first immediately follow the second, and each pair is spoken by a different person. In the context of this webinar, I found many adjacency pairs occur. As we all know, webinar is all about the discussion on a certain topic, so there must be a lot of questions and answers during the conversation. Like for example, the moderator asked questions to the speaker, and then the speaker received and answered the questions directly. Another exchange is like over and accept. Another one is compliment and acceptance. So we can see the speaker respond directly to the offer and the compliment. So these are the examples of the adjacency pair from the webinar. To summarize, conversation analysis such as turn-taking and adjacency pair help to determine how the participants understand and respond to one another when it's their turn to talk in a natural conversation. These are the references. Okay, I guess that's all the things from me. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a good day and take care. Bye.